We've got a huge high-pressure ridge developing over southern Canada, and that's going to translate into much warmer than average temperatures over the northern United States. In fact, record-breaking highs expected into parts of the upper Midwest. But it's got to give eventually. We're going to see these warmer conditions eventually fade to cooler than average air, and that's going to be with a big storm system more than likely sometime over the next week or two. All details in this video, so stick around for everything. Thank you so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. Looking at that National Weather Service alerts map of your Monday, as of your Monday late evening here, we've got some flood watches continuing over parts of California, winter storm warnings into the high elevations of the Sierras, high elevations of Arizona, as well as on there into parts of Nevada as the storm continues. The atmospheric river event that we've been seeing continues to drop that really heavy rainfall there, and it has been causing debris flows and other problems as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the rest of this video. Now let's take a look at WeatherBell maps, where I've got a trial for these in the description. Here we go. Let's get into this future radar here and kind of show you what we've got going on all across the country. As of your Monday evening, we've got still a little bit of shower and storm coverage over parts of the Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina coastlines from that upper level low there, and all this precipitation continuing to push into parts of the mountainous west. As we make our way overnight tonight and into our Tuesday, we'll still have a little bit of a flood threat to watch out for there in Southern California. Into our Tuesday here, as that rainfall continues pushing on shore in at least light to moderate fashion, snowfall into high elevations there into the Four Corners as well as the Rockies, and you can see that really picking up by Wednesday afternoon as a surface low begins ejecting on out there into the plains, with that northerly flow contributing to that snowfall in the high elevations of Idaho, Montana, and all the way on down into Utah and Colorado. Of course, the high pressure ridging up here over parts of south central Canada, that's really going to help to support the southerly flow over the plains. We'll see some stronger south winds developing by the time we go into our Thursday. Again, this whole system really going to begin to expand a little bit towards the midday and time frame of our Thursday here, with some showers and storms maybe down into parts of the central plains. Some of those translating on off towards the north and east. You can see that continuing there as we make our way late Thursday. Some of these could be on the stronger side, but overall not really a severe thunderstorm threat, at least exceeding, low-end threats out of anything here, as we're still in the winter, so we're not really seeing much storm energy make it that far north. There will be a snowy side to this storm. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit here, but you can see here as the storm continues heading eastward, it does look like it'll be a little bit weaker. The pressure will drop or go up a little bit, I should say, which means that the storm is not strengthening anymore. We'll see the tatters of the storm though continue, with some light to moderate snowfall maybe still wrapping back around into parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota behind this, as the air cools on off up there. And then this could be the start of our next system, which looks like it could get going Sunday. That one could be really interesting. We'll talk about the kind of the in-depth look at that one in just a little bit here as well. But here's a look at those record high and low temperatures that we've got going on. This is as we make our way towards our Tuesday morning here. Temperatures that are waking up to in the low 30s here over a lot of parts of the upper Midwest, as well as the upper 20s. These are enough to make it record breaking up there into parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota. And where we have those record high temperatures for our Tuesday afternoon, it's going to be there into the Minneapolis-St. Paul area and just southward of there, and then as well into parts of central Wisconsin. These highs that are going to be near 50 degrees. While that doesn't seem that warm, that's much warmer than average for this time of the year by as much as 40 degrees. And that's as that southerly flow brings 50s and 60s across a lot of the southern tier of the United States. Here's what you'll wake up to Wednesday morning over a lot of the country. Look at this, seeing some 40s trying to press their way on up there through parts of Kansas and towards Nebraska. 30s over a lot of the upper Midwest, and again, that's good enough for record warm low temperatures there over that region. And there will be some as well into parts of the Rockies and into New Mexico high elevations as well. Look at this, Wisconsin really winning out with those record highs as we make our way into our Wednesday afternoon. Again, touching the 50s there, and that is very uncommon for this time of the year to be seeing 50s that far north, with mid-50s, upper 50s over a lot of the central plains, getting close to 70 there closer to the Gulf Coast. And again, it's just really how far north these warmer temperatures are going. By the time we make our way in towards our Thursday morning, we've got this warm pocket that you can clearly see over the central U.S., and those temperatures warming up close to 40, or going only down to around 40 over a lot of the north central United States for our Thursday morning. Here's what we're looking at as we go to Thursday afternoon. Temperatures nearing the 60s there in southeastern parts of Iowa, including Des Moines, and then on up there into the 50s, up into parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, on over there into south central parts of New York State. It'll be close to 50 degrees as well. This is record-breaking warmth for this time of the year. Friday, in the morning with that cold front beginning to head towards the Great Lakes. That's where we get that southerly push really kind of instigated there now into parts of Indiana, Ohio, and southern Michigan. That's where we'll get into the 40s and 50s there. And then as we make our way in towards our Friday afternoon, look at the 60s and 70s down there over the south central. And it's still record breaking as we're near 50 up there into parts of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. So lots of records are going to be broken there day by day as this kind of, just kind of materializes over the next several days. Here's those temperature anomalies looking at that Euro model. You can see, again, any of these, these grayish shades turning into the whites and then the deep reds there over parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota. That's 20, 30, 40 degrees above normal. And again, that's as that low pressure system exits the Rockies, draping those cooler than average temperatures closer to the west coast. Everywhere else, though, pretty much warmer than average, excluding the immediate southeastern coast, as we kind of continue to see a little bit of northerly winds there behind our most recent upper level low. But again, look at those whites and the reds continuing all the way through the mid to back half of this week. By the time we're making our way towards the weekend, we'll see this cold air continuing to press up against this warmer air that's going to be to the east. And eventually, again, I think this is going to trigger a bigger storm as we head towards the end of this weekend and into next week, say the 11th, 12th time frame is when that might start on up. But here's that forecast temperature anomaly that I've got going on for you here for our February 8th. So this is as we go into our Thursday. And look at this. It's looking well above average there by as much as 30 plus degrees over parts of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois into the Chicago area, as well as into western parts of Michigan. Only areas cooler than average across the country, looking to be closer to the west coast by as much as about 15 degrees, or especially into high elevations of California, Nevada, Arizona, and southern Utah. Now let's go ahead and kind of take a look at this next storm system again that's kind of helping to bring those warmer than average temperatures up. Here we go as we make our way. As we go into our Wednesday early morning here, you can see that snow pushing through parts of the high elevations of the Rockies there. By the time we make our way in towards our Thursday early morning, again, showers and storms wouldn't rule out maybe some stronger activity of some cells there into parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. Overall, though, just looking like a southerly push with some scattered showers, maybe some gusty winds embedded in those, as those kind of quickly make their way on off towards the northeast. Snow ejects on out here over the Dakotas while we get some showers and storms. Again, maybe a brief, stronger storm up there into parts of Minnesota, Iowa, as well as Illinois and Wisconsin later on our Thursday evening there. Notice this kind of system, again, you can, this is what I mentioned earlier in the video, it begins breaking up as we head later with time. So as we make our way towards Friday morning, we'll kind of see that southerly push still bringing some showers from the Gulf Coast all the way on up there to the Ohio Valley, again, monitoring a low-end thunderstorm threat there. And then we'll see that wraparound snowfall still translating there into, say, Montana and into the Dakotas and Minnesota as well. Here's what our snowfall totals could add up to by the time we make our way towards Saturday at 4 a.m. Notice where our heaviest totals are going to be. High elevations of the west continuing to add up with additional foot-plus totals there over Sierra Nevada range, into parts of Nevada itself. They're into high elevations in Arizona as well as into Utah, western Colorado, Idaho, and Montana. There will also be a potential pocket, though, of some 3+ inch totals that could make its way on out into the Dakotas. Parts of North Dakota might get close to a foot of snow there in the northern zones. So we'll have to watch that very closely. In terms of rainfall, this system not really looking to drop much. Here's your forecast rainfall out of that European model. Again, still a lot more precipitation to come over the west, a lot of that falling as snow, except in Southern California, where 2 to 4 more inches of rain possible with locally higher amounts out of this system. But look at how as this translates east, and we pretty much only get like a quarter to a half an inch over a lot of areas, if that, in some cases here as this system heads eastward beyond the Central Plains. Now, here's what we've got going on out of the future radar beyond that point. Behind this, as we head towards our Sunday around 7 a.m., this is when things begin to look a little bit more interesting here, as we've got that leftover front from our previous system that will have just made its way offshore of the northeast, bringing showers and maybe interior snow there. Look at this, though. That's going to bring that southerly pull on up into the south central United States. Snow could be quite heavy in a pocket here from northern Oklahoma all the way on up into northern Missouri and Illinois there as well. Now, this is just a signal from the European model, but it does show potential severe weather on the southern end of the storm late on Sunday, snow and maybe even blizzard conditions on the northern end as this polar jet dips on down. It does look like there's probably going to be a stronger storm system sometime beginning around Sunday, but at this point, the exact details are not set in stone. The GFS is not hopping on this quite yet, so I think it's really just a signal at this point, and a growing signal, but we don't know exactly where this is going to go and how strong it is quite going to be. It does look like this could be a potent storm system, though, bringing heavy rain and storms, some gusty winds as far north as the Ohio Valley, that wraparound snow band being a small one, but with very heavy snow and blizzard conditions there in into Missouri, Illinois, and Wisconsin, as well as into northern Michigan out of this. But again, this is just one run. If you look at previous runs out of the Euro, it shows a similar storm, but kind of tracking further south and not getting as much of a northerly pull with stronger winds. So it's really too early to call exactly what's going to happen out of this. But I do think something's going to be exiting the south central plains as we go Sunday and into early next week. Now here's that temperature anomalies. Here's a look at those temperature anomalies, I should say, out of the EPS ensembles here, collection of different models pretty much surrounding the Euro, and it's going to be warmer than average over most of the eastern United States as we head towards our Monday. Notice that cooler than average air probably surging under a likely low pressure system that'll probably be stationed somewhere near Missouri or Illinois at that point. And again, the mix of these models showing this cold air rushing in is really a signal that some sort of storm system's gonna have to blast that warmer out of the way, because remember, it's definitely not this first one that we're getting over this week, because that one's just barely making its way out into the plains before kind of breaking apart. Does look like this could bring a stream of colder air across the country by mid-February, and this is what I've been hinting at for a little while now. So if you want to stay tuned with me throughout these storms, please hit that subscribe button for accurate, easy to understand, and passionate forecasts. Weatherbound Maps trial in the description. That's it for this one.